Chapter 24. Somehow, amid the confusion and aftermath of Ivram's statement, the discussions with the regent and his wife and the other elders, Ephir managed to impress on Kara that Isika and Ben needed rest. After what felt like a blur of steps and whispers, they found themselves back in Dawit and Teru's house. Teru showed Isika to a room that had 2 beds, one with Iba already sleeping in it. Isika crawled into Iba's bed with her, leaving her own empty. The little girl smiled in her sleep, and Isika threw her arm around her and sank thankfully into oblivion. In the morning, she woke smelling cinnamon and coffee. Iba was gone. When Isika reached the kitchen, she found her little sister sitting on the stone cooking bench, chattering away to Teru, who was bending over the stove, clothed in a soft gray robe. Iba's hair had been braided into dozens of tiny braids with bright stone beads threaded on the ends. When she shook her head, her hair clattered. She grinned at Isika. "I wondered when you would wake up," she said. "You slept forever." "I did?" Isika teased, reaching out to feel one of the beads and laying her hand softly on her sister's cheek. "We certainly couldn't wake you up yesterday evening." Isika took a good look at Teru as the older woman turned and smiled at her. She was of medium height and a little plump, the kind of woman you could lean on while she stroked your hair. And she was beautiful, with high cheekbones and soft eyes. Isika sighed. She wanted to stay in this house and let this woman care for her. "Come and eat, child," Teru said. "Then you can dress in your travel clothes. I hate that those elders are taking you away so soon. You had such a day yesterday, and no time to recover." Isika squared her shoulders. If she wasn't careful, she could let Teru's sympathy absorb every bit of her willpower. To face the day, Isika needed hard-faced strength. She sat at the nearest chair at the table, which was laid with the same bright ceramic plates she had seen yesterday. She picked up a plate and looked at it curiously. It didn't look anything like the rough clayware of the workers at all. "How do they make this so thin?" she asked. Teru laughed and said, "When you get back, I'll bring you to the master potter's workshop, and you can see for yourself." "They make these here in the city?" "Yes, like everything else. The master potter is an old friend of mine from school days. I'll introduce you." Teru bustled around the kitchen, gathering food. When she came to the table, Isika set the plate down so the older woman could lay several spiced pancakes and a pile of thin sliced mushrooms on her plate. The mushrooms were fried lightly, rich and full of flavor. Isika ate quickly, piling wild fruit jam on her pancakes, nodding at Ben, who appeared from the back of the house, his eyes sleepy. He took a deep breath at the sight of the food on the table, then popped his eyes at Isika. She knew how he felt. This was a big change, to say the least. They had gone from one meal of porridge a day to multiple meals of fresh, aromatic food. Isika could see a difference in herself and her siblings. They were stronger and more sure with their bodies. She hoped they were ready for whatever this journey would bring. After they ate, Teru brought out Isika's new traveling clothes, another tunic and a pair of wide-legged pants, but dark brown and made of a tougher material, with pockets in the tunic and orange embroidery on the collar and hems. After Isika put them on, Teru handed her a belt to buckle around her waist. It had several pockets as well. In one, Isika found a compass, in another a knife. Then Teru handed her a tall pair of boots, like the ones Jabari had been wearing on their last journey. They were made of the softest leather, and Isika loved them immediately. She laced them over the wide pants all the way to her knees, and afterward she stood and looked at herself in the mirror while Teru rebraided her hair so that it wrapped around her head, no loose hair hanging. She looked like a warrior. All she needed was a bow or a sword. She walked out to find Benyim with Dawit, dressed almost identically to her, except instead of a tunic he wore a shirt. Teru handed Isika a scarf. "This is a ser," she said. "It will come in handy. You can wrap it around your head if the sun is beating down on you." She showed her. or use it as a towel, or wet it if you are too hot. Isika wrapped it loosely around her neck and looked at the kind older couple. Teru handed them each a bag of food. Isika glanced inside and found a water flask, bread, meat, and nuts. "How can we thank you?" she asked the kind couple who had taken them in. "By coming back so we can really begin our life together," she said. "Now you three need to go. You're supposed to meet the others at the palace, and I dare not go because Ivram will receive a tongue lashing like he has never had in his life if I get my sights on him." Isika smiled and impulsively reached out to give the older woman a hug. She smelled like flowers and warm skin, a motherly smell, a little like Isika's own mother. She swallowed past a tight feeling in her throat. "What do we call you? I haven't even asked." "You can call us Auntie and Uncle, or Auntie Teru and Uncle Dawit if you want, but Auntie and Uncle will do." Isika smiled and gave Auntie Teru's hands one last squeeze. "We will come back, Auntie. Come, Iba," she said. "The regent wife is waiting for you." Iba sat on a cushion on the floor, pulling a piece of string for a kitten to pounce on. "I'm not coming," she announced. "I'm staying here with Auntie." "No, you said that you would come and stay with Lelit," Isika said. "Oh, but I changed my mind," she said, "and I'm staying here." Isika felt like she was getting a glimpse of what it was like to work with herself. She looked at Auntie. Teru shrugged. Isika thought quickly. She didn't want to start the journey by dragging Iba somewhere she didn't want to go. Surely the regent wife would understand and not want to uproot the little girl again. "Okay," she said, "you can stay here, but behave." Iba waved from her place on the floor. Isika could tell it meant nothing to her that Isika had given her permission, because Iba hadn't planned to come in any case. Isika gave Ben a look, and he frowned back at her. He looked worried. "I think we're going to see a side of Iba we haven't seen before," Isika said. "We're seeing new sides of all of us," he agreed, "but I'm a bit worried, Isika. The regent wife isn't going to like that." Isika shrugged. "She'll have to accept it." They waved their way out the door, and Isika looked back at the little house on the side of the hill as they climbed down. Auntie Teru and Uncle Dawit stood in the doorway with their arms around each other, and Isika realized how hard this must be for them. Their son had gone on a journey like this and had never come back. Isika gave a final wave, and her heart leapt to see them raise their hands in a wave of their own. Ben could see a crowd waiting outside the palace as he and Isika drew near, walking down the steep path. The regent and his wife were there, as well as several other men and women dressed in the robes of elders. There were others in traveling clothes, and Ben assumed they were the rangers who would accompany them. Then there were Jabari and Gavi. "Welcome, travelers," Andar said from the top of the palace steps, a smile on his face. He was tall and imposing, standing with his wife, who shone and glittered in the sun. Her robes were covered with tiny pieces of mirror, and they caught the morning light, flashing in their eyes. But then Andar shifted his focus to Jabari. "Your boot is unlaced, son," he said. Suddenly the elders didn't seem as intimidating anymore. Jabari glanced at his boot and frowned, quickly bending and tying it. "As though I don't know how to take care of my boots after all these long months in the wilderness," he grumbled to Gavi, who stood smirking beside him. "Our friends look better than when we found them, eh, Yab?" Gavi said as Jabari straightened, and Jabari grinned. "Look at that," he said. He reached out and clapped Ben on the shoulder and nodded at Isika. "Completely respectable travelers now, no longer running around in their underclothes." Ben laughed, and even Isika smiled. Overhead, the trees shook in a light breeze, and the cool of the morning softened the sun that shone on them. "Respectable or not, I don't know what rangers are," Ben said. "They're like grown-up seekers," Jabari said. "They do similar work, but on the more dangerous borders, and they have to fight to protect us sometimes." Then Lelit spoke. "Where is Iba?" she asked, raising her voice to reach them from the steps. Isika exchanged a glance with Ben. "She didn't come," she said. "She wanted to stay with Auntie Teru." Lelit stared at Isika, her gaze cold and her face upset. "I requested that she stay with me," she began, but Andar put a hand on her arm. "Yes, love," he said softly, "but she is a child and she needs rest." "Our sister became close to Auntie Teru quickly," Ben said, surprising himself. "It was a long journey and she is tired." He didn't feel anything wrong coming from Jabari's mother, beside a bit of pride perhaps. As he reached to hear the music that came from Lelit, he heard sorrow most of all. It made him want to be gentle with her, no matter how fierce her look was. Lelit drew herself up. She gave them another look, and it held a challenge. There was a lot of tension in the group. Ben heard echoes of it everywhere. Much of it must have come from the night before, when Isika had recognized their queen and Ivram had made the guess he did. "Why is she behaving this way?" Isika whispered to him. "Maybe she thinks you want to rule her country," Ben said. "Now she knows your ancestor might be the queen." He was only half joking. Isika snorted, crossing her arms. "She can have her country. I don't want to run any country. I just want to find my brother and get back to Auntie's to eat more of her jam." Ben laughed, and a bit of his own tension eased. To get away from the eyes of the elders, he bent and retied his own laces, though they didn't need it. There was a little burst of activity at the edge of the group, and when he stood up, his other sister was there. Arya stood straight and tall, her silverwood bow in her hand and a pack on her back. Her boots had buckles on them, and Ben stared at them, thinking of how expensive they must be. She had a scarf tied around her hair, and she was so surprising, standing there, real and taking up space in the world, in a way he had thought would never happen again. She was very much alive. "You came," Isika said, hurrying to give her sister a hug. "Of course," she said, stiffly hugging Isika back. "I told you I would." Ben hugged Arya lightly, and Jabari and Gavi greeted her with their hands on their hearts in the custom of the Mawil. With the cluster of kids, Ivram, and 4 rangers, there were 10 travelers. Andar held his hands out over them and spoke the travel blessing. "Go well, with speed. The road be smooth, the trees give their bounty, your hearts thankful and brave. Come back to us quickly."